G'day, Tiny here from Off Tap Brewing. Just watched the first take of this video and I went blah 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 blah, too many beers, blah blah blah, crap crap crap. So here's the situation. 50 litres of a beer I brewed the other day, the 3000 All Body. Still haven't put water in the airlock yet. Yeast is pitched. I did a yeast starter using that wort, aerated it nicely, and I suppose I want to do a video, this sort of video, on why we oxygenate our wort, why we add oxygen to this sort of product. Okay, basically when we boil, if you're doing a boil, you're pushing out all the oxygen that was in your water. That's a standard sort of thing. So when we pour them in, and we tip the thing up and we really agitate it and get everything going, we're introducing oxygen, about 8 parts per million. Yeast needs between 8 parts and 14 parts to be really proliferant. Sorry, I've been ratting around my fridge all day looking for old bottles of beer that I've been storing away, carbonating them and drinking them. Man, what a mad day. But I'm going to get out of this wind and talk to you about something called aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration, which is highly important to your yeast. To do that, we need another beer. And I don't have a beer there. I don't have a beer there. There's no beer. Oh no, we're almost out of bottles of beer. Okay, I might go and pull one off the tap. Oh yeah. Aerobic respiration is your first stage of yeast. Basically, your yeast, if you think of yourself wanting to do a job, and you've got a task set ahead of you, and you're going to do a job, you're going to go out and assess the job and have a look around and everything. That's what yeast is going to do. And in this process, as it's doing this, it's called aerobic respiration, and it needs oxygen. So your wort needs to have adequate oxygen in it for your yeast to efficiently or accurately assess the job at hand. If it doesn't have it, then your pitching rates are out, then your aeration's out, everything's out. It's going to be laboured, it's going to be slow to start, it's going to be, you're going to taste the signs of all this sort of stuff. So aerobic respiration. We're going to oxygenate our wort. I do mine by tipping my speed kits in, and really the air goes in, lots of foam and all that sort of stuff. That's the idea behind the speed kits. And pitching the speed kits, or pitching the yeast in the speed kits, I'm promoting the base level for aerobic respiration. Now, we then, once the yeast has gone around and analysed its environment, it switches to anaerobic respiration, where it needs no more oxygen. It starts to cell divide and blah 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 and do everything it's got to do. And actually, I think cell division is in aerobic respiration. Might have to check up on that, but it happens. So anaerobic respiration has taken place. Your yeast is now chomping on all those sugars that you've provided. The fermentable sugars, they're being eaten up, and your yeast is farting CO2 and it's peeing ethanol. And that's what we want. This is a living organism. If you could picture yourself digging a ditch out in the hot midday sun, and I'm talking 34 degrees, 80% humidity, blah 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 blah, you're going to do a really crappy job. So we're going to bring this yeast in, cool it down, cool our wort down, give it enough oxygen, give it enough sugar, give it enough nutrient. It's going to do a much better job in the right environment. So anabolic respiration, anabolic. Man, I've had too many beers today. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration of yeast. Aerobic, think of as aerobicizing. You're breathing in, you're working, you're breathing in. And then anaerobic, you're not breathing in oxygen, you're going to work, you're doing your stuff, you got to do what you got to do, you're creating ethanol, you're creating CO2, all that sort of stuff. So, you know, that's why we oxygenate our worts. I'm currently sourcing out some oxygen tanks to oxygenate my wort. I think I saw something a little while ago on Immoladius. He did a video on oxygenating wort and how many different ways you can do that on his channel. So if you want to look up Immoladius, and I'll tell you what, most of you guys out there that are watching my channel, you already know Immoladius. So look at the way he oxygenates his wort. I've chased down a similar sort of oxygen bottle, and it's coming into the shop. I'll pick it up in about a week or so. But yeah, your yeast needs oxygen to start with. You need to oxygenate your wort. That is a definite. You need to properly oxygenate it. It has to cell divide, it has to do what it's got to do to the job at hand. Always remember that putting your yeast into the premium environment, the optimal sort of range, temperature, oxygen, pitching rate. I mean, you can't put 7 grams of yeast into a 50-litre batch. It's not going to take hold. It's going to struggle. You know, you're not going to put a dry yeast in, knowing that when you pitch a dry yeast, you're losing at least 50%. You know, so it's going to take hold after 4 or 5 days, and you know, it's going to labour through the job, and nothing's going to be right. But if you provide the perfect environment for this yeast, oxygen levels, temperature, you know, sugar sources, nutrients, all those sorts of things, well then you're going to get a really good job. Your yeast is going to go and perform for you. Your yeast is your star of your beer. And remember, beer makes you smarter.